Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a quick hit podcast to get you ready for the day. Today is Friday, August 2nd in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Latrobe, PA, as it may be. I came up to Steelers camp yesterday, wrote a column, brought my family and stayed around here for the night, enjoyed our first time ever at Sharky's. That was a fun one, burning off some Marriott points. So greetings from the beautiful Spring Hill Suites in Latrobe, heading back to Pittsburgh today for some Buccos action. It's Friday. It's Q&A segment of this show. So thank you very much. I have a whole bunch of really great questions to get to. Before that, I want to remind you that we're sponsored by the North Shore Tavern. You don't have to be a baseball fan to love it there. The interior is wall-to-wall Pirates, their appetizers, entrees, and of course, steak and seafood on a sizzling lava stone, open every day. The North Shore Tavern across from PNC Park is Pittsburgh's home for steak on a stone. So I really love that. I love answering Pirates questions. Believe me, I can answer Pirates questions all day long, but I'm trying to give sort of a wide swath or something like that of Pittsburgh sports stuff. And I asked for some non-Pirates questions, and you guys came through. So a whole bevy of stuff to get through. Thank you very much. Was asked, I am going to start with Pirates though. Was asked a few times, Stardust Redding asked, would putting Cruz at DH be the best option? Was asked again, let me try to find this one. Are you concerned about the recent Oneil struggles at the plate and in the field? If so, what would be your solution? At Sean N412 asked that one. So, okay, as far as Oneil Cruz, here's where I come down on that. There's nothing I would do in season. I went into this thinking 162 games. I'm going to see where it lands. Can he show me he can play shortstop? As I answer this question right now on August 2nd, which I'm going to do on my podcast, the Pirates clearly don't need to do this for a definitive future position. I don't see how he can play shortstop long-term. You have a pitching staff that needs good defense behind it. You don't have a terribly large margin for error. And Oneil Cruz just has not performed like you would expect a major league shortstop to perform. That said, I think this is a somewhat sensitive situation. And if this continues through the end of the Pirates season, whenever that may be, I would sit Oneil down and say, look, we can make our team better if you embrace the outfield. We think you can be a really good outfielder. And I think I probably agree with a lot of people watching and listening to this, say, like, can you imagine his arm in right field? What that might look like, his athleticism? Because you can rip him for running into left field and taking a ball from Brian Reynolds and violating baseball, whatever you want to say, an edict in baseball. That's the outfielder's ball 100 times out of 100. But look at the ground he covered. That's something that I'm thinking about. That imagine if he can learn the outfield, what he could do out there. But again, I wouldn't do it in season. I wouldn't DH him. I don't like the DH first base option. You're taking one of your most athletic players, the best arm on the team, and not taking advantage of that stuff. So not terribly thrilled with that. All right, going to move to another sport. Chris Laverty. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, Chris, but at LavDaddy1 asks, as of today, with the moves already made, knowing more may be done later, what's a reasonable expectation to have for the Penguins this year? To get back to the playoffs, I don't know if I have a great argument to present to you that says they're playoff bound. It seems to me the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I guess if I would to present a glass half full reasoning, there's nothing stopping Tristan Jarry from improving or realizing some of the potential that we've seen. There's also nothing guaranteeing he'll do so. And I think he's a very important part of this team. And I don't know if I see them moving on from Jarry based on the rhetoric we've seen, what we've heard, what would make business sense. Like, Jarry's the guy, right? And so you've taken away good players from a team that didn't make the playoffs, and you haven't necessarily replaced them with better players. So I don't know. I'd like to think that the Penguins can find one more run here for Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang, Evgeni Malkin alone. I'd hate to think that they are done going to the playoffs, but if I go down their roster and look at it, are they better, or are they just the same with different faces? I don't know about the top six winger they're going to add. I mean, if they add somebody, it's going to be somebody who's going to use top 6 minutes to try to, get back and leverage that, and almost like the Pirates have done with starting pitching, use the opportunity for something bigger. And I hope they find that guy, believe me. I mean, but you've taken away the winger that Sidney Crosby has had the most success with over his career in Jake Gensel, and you've replaced him with Drew O'Connor. Nothing against Drew. It's just he's not Jake Gensel. Should probably temper expectations some, but I think we all sort of look at this the same way, and you hope that those guys have one more run and that you can get enough internal improvement to get back into the postseason. All right, we're going to take our usual mid-podcast break here with an ad from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. We'll be back on the other side with more of your questions.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
Welcome back to First 10. A couple more minutes of your questions. Going to speed it up here in the second round. Want to get to as many as possible. Matt at MattleWin2893 asks, what move this offseason would the Pirates have to make to win the NL Central? That's a good question, Matt. At this point, I think first base is the biggest area of need, depending on what they do with Rowdy Tellez. But to me, somebody to add a little bit more offense, same as we saw at the deadline. I think a lot of it we're going to learn over the final 2 months as well. But at this point, I would probably say first base. Brian H. at Golfman Brian asks, with Bart playing and hitting well, where does Henry Davis fit into the team's long-term plans, especially with Endy back in the mix next year? I don't think they know. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either. Right now, Joey Bart's the starting catcher. That goes without saying. And I think Yasmani Grandal is probably on the roster in some way, shape, or form, based on how he's caught Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, what he's added from a veteran presence. I realize the offense hasn't been much, but I think it's sort of TBD. I think Grandal goes off the roster next year. Clearly, I would expect Joey Bart to be back. I think Endy is somebody that I could maybe see playing first base. He's done it before. I would not try Henry over there. But again, and maybe there's an opportunity that arises the rest of the year. I'm not sure, but immediate plans, I don't see Henry fitting in there. ME and a whole bunch of numbers. Love the live stream of deadline day. How hectic was that? The live stream increased the stress. Yes, it did. And in a good way. You guys, so many people watched that. I'm not the beat guy anymore. Noah and Andrew were handling a lot of that stuff. Noah was in Houston. Andrew had to jump off. But it was a good kind of stress. It was a challenge. Certainly not complaining. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. Do you think any Pirates make their MLB debut before the season is over? If so, who do you think are the most likely candidates? AP at AGP444 asks that. Yeah, I think we could see a couple pitchers make their MLB debuts before the season is over. I think those are, I should say Nick York, too, is somebody that I think we probably see come up and play second base. But the guys I'm looking at, and I have circled Mike Burrows and Braxton Ashcraft, make a lot of sense for me. Robert Barbacci at Bob_Barbacci asks, have you been to a Penn State game before, and will you be going in your new role? I have, and I can't wait to go to more. I've been writing about Pitt now. I'm actually working on a Sunday column there and was at their media day just because they had it. And I probably will write about more Pitt than Penn State, I think, just because of proximity to our city. But I don't know if Penn State moves the needle, which they have done in the past. I've written about Penn State games before. To answer the question, yes, I've been to a Penn State game before. I've been to a couple, and I once filled in going to Tampa for the Outback Bowl. I love covering Penn State stuff. I hope I get the opportunity to do it. It's a great environment, a great passionate fan base. Again, I have no horse in the race. Remember, I went to Westminster, so the whole Pitt or Penn State debate, somebody was calling me like a Pitt fanboy. I'm not really a fanboy of any of that. I'm a fanboy of college football. I will admit that. And I'm loving getting to do more of that. And yes, I will. As many college football games as I can get to on Saturdays. I'm also fully traveling full for Steelers, doing some hockey stuff, and obviously not giving up on baseball. So it's a large division of time, but if I can get out there, I certainly plan to do that. My name's Jeff at JeffTweet68 asks the age-old elephant in the room. If you have two quarterbacks, you actually have none. I'm guessing that's a question relative to Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but I don't see it like that. We haven't gotten a great grasp on Russell Wilson in this portion. We saw a lot of them in minicamp and OTAs. Justin Fields, I've liked what I've seen. The athleticism. Arthur Smith has been emphasizing, Jerry Dulac wrote about this today, for him to be aggressive, and Justin Fields has done that. Some of his downfield throwing, I thought, has been darn good. There's zero question about it that his athleticism. I don't think anybody had that going in, but I don't believe in if they have two, they have none. One of these guys is going to work. I personally don't think they're going to ask Russell Wilson to do too much. I think it'll work out. I think he's going to be put right in a sweet spot with an offensive line that should be physical, with tight ends who can contribute, running backs who can, move the chains and put them in favorable down and distance situations, and just enough to go downfield when they want to. I don't know if this is going to be the most explosive offense in the NFL. It's probably not, but I think it's going to be at least functional, and I don't look at it like, oh, they don't have a quarterback. Okay. Last one, AP Big Money, AP one, another Penguins question. That's okay. I like it. Does Dubas trade for a top six winger? Do the Penguins trade Jarry? Blomqvist is on the doorstep of the NHL. A very valid question with Joel Blomqvist, and it's something I think they need to be cognizant of. I'm going to go back to a conversation I had with Mike Sullivan around development camp, where I was asking him about goaltending depth. And I said, I know that it's sort of the trend around the NHL to have two good goaltenders. And he interrupted me. He said, no, it's actually three. I was like, okay. That sort of told me a lot in how they think about goaltending going into this season. So it tells me they're not going to move on from Jarry, to answer the second question there. It tells me, too, that Joel Blomqvist is probably going to play an important role in this team. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think they probably start the season with Jarry and Ned. Something happens, Blomqvist comes up. I think they probably wanted to force his way up there and not have something happen to where you have to throw him in before he's ready, although I think he's probably close to ready now. In any case, I would expect to see all three of those guys, and I think the Penguins need all three of them to contribute. The top six winger thing, man, I want to see him do something. I was talking earlier about the Jake Gensel spot and Drew O'Connor. They need something there. They need depth there. I can understand maybe a bounce back from Ricard Raquel. I like the line with Evgeni Malkin and Michael Bunting after the Gensel trade. And obviously, you're going to have Brian Rust in there somewhere, but I'd like to see a little bit more forward depth. If Kyle Dubas can do something unexpected on the cheap, that would be fantastic. Maybe bring back Jaromir Jagr. How about that? Or Phil Kessel. No, I'm just kidding. Those are a couple completely random outside thoughts. But there's still avenues to go. I'm not sure we know who it is at this point. Tyler Johnson? I haven't looked to see if he signed with anybody. So if he did, I'm sorry. I've been immersed in Steelers and in Pirates land. But we'll see. I do think there's something else there. I just don't think it's going to be like a premium top tier sort of top six winger ad. All right, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you as always for watching this stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of the first 10 videos every day, as well as plenty of other stuff from our other Post-Gazette columnists and beat writers. I'll be at the ballpark plenty this weekend. Big series against the Diamondbacks. And we'll talk to you on Monday.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.